Hello everyone, welcome to another training tutorial session. In this session, we would have a look at Selenium as well as some of Java and some of the IDE hacks which I have used in past couple of weeks and months and years. And I thought of sharing it with all of you. So let's get started. First, we would have a look at something called refactoring encapsulate field, and we would see an example of making public driver private and how IDA can help us with that. So herein I have our usual Selenium test project, and I have a class here which is named as another wrong base class driver setup. What is wrong here is, as you can see, the driver is marked as public, which is not right, because we know from oops that we should hide our data members, but well, we have all made such mistakes. And then I have one test class here which is quite simple. It says test1 using wrong base class driver setup, and it extends the the wrong base class driver setup. And here I can directly access the driver object because it is public, so it is accessible in the derived class. Let's write another test class using this, which is quite simple. I'll just say command C command V or control C control V. If you are on Windows, I will name it as test2. Okay, yeah, I would add it to Git also. And this is another class which is extending wrong base class driver setup, and again, we have driver object being accessed directly here. Now if you want to fix this this use case, what we have to do is we have to go to driver and make it private and set getters, and then use get driver methods in these two test classes to be able to access the driver object. But this is pretty laborious because if you have 30, 40, 50 classes, doing this manually is going to take lots of time, and this is when IDA refactoring comes into the place. So what we can simply do, we can right click on this, say refactor, and we can say encapsulate fields, and we are going to encapsulate driver here. It would set getter and setter for us. We can say field should be set to private. This is what we want to achieve, and accessor should be public, so the getter would be public. And let's just hit the refactor button and you see what happened. The driver is set to private here, and there's a get driver method here, and this is the method which would be used in the test classes. So if I go to the test class test1, which is right here, you see it has changed to get driver here, and test2, which is also changed to get driver. So this is one very handy feature of IntelliJ to encapsulate field. As in, what I did here was change the visibility from public to private, and I did not have to write any piece of code myself. Let's see what we have next. Yeah, next is refactor rename. Refactor rename, probably you might know this already. This is also another handy feature because you may end up using one method, for example page object, in many classes, and if you want to refactor it, that's very easy. Just right click on the class name, say refactor rename, and I can rename this class to say another wrong base class. And once I do that, it suggests me, yeah, okay, this inherits this, so I will say select all, and everything else would be renamed. So the class name here, it extends the another wrong base class which I just renamed. So quite handy feature to rename the classes or variables or methods. And then code generation. This is another very handy feature with the IntelliJ, with which we can generate code in terms of getters, setters, and so on. For example, let's create a class called address, and let's set it to git commit, and here we can set some variables. Say address could have street, and let's set another variable. Let's define another variable, say street, say house number. But then we need getters and setters for these data members, and we would also like to, for example, do comparison over this object. We need to in this case also define equals method, and we would like to print its value in terms of what data members have got. So we would also like to implement toString, and doing all of this manually is going to take lots of time. So what we can do is we can generate code using IntelliJ again. Just say hit generate, and you can select whatever you want to, you know, generate here. Let's say getter and setter. I would select both of this, and you see it has set up getter and setters. Or I can do generate something else, say equals and hash code. Then it is going to generate equals and hash code. There are some options available here, for example, template and so on. I would not make any changes here and generate as it is. Next, next, next. Finish. So it has generated equals, and another method I spoke of earlier was toString. So this also can be generated using generate, and yeah, right here toString. So once you print address object, then it would print, you know, the real values the object contains, and not some object at the rate of 123, which is not at all comprehensible. So IntelliJ has these capabilities of generating lots of boilerplate code for us, and we should take advantage of it. Next, let's see debug point. When certain value is attained by a variable. This is one very handy feature I came across a few years ago. I would switch project for that because for some reason this project is causing trouble for me. So I would move to another project here. Yes. Now, what we all may have debugged our test from time to time when we have come across some issues, test failures, and so on. And what we are going to see now is debugging it only with specific value. For example, if we have lots of data sets, we are doing data driven testing, and we don't want to debug with every single data set value. We know our test failed for one specific data value, then we can have debug point set only for this specific data set value. For example, I have taken here method register with the invalid user data, and the login user.csv file has gotten some values for this, which is yeah, these two methods are these two data sets are here, and these two values would be used for testing. By the way, this is part of Selenium test framework project, which is open source, and I would also link it on the description of the video so you could try it yourself. So with register with valid user data, we have two data sets values with Selenium and QTP, which are for first name. And now what I would do is I would go to the method and keep a debug point here, which is very simple. Everyone knows this. And now what I would do is I would right click on this, and then I would say user dot first name dot equals ignore case QTP. And now you see the debug point has changed to question mark. So it says this debug point is applicable for the condition when user dot first name dot equals ignore case is equal to QTP. And given that is data driven test, which is emphasized from here using data provider annotation from testng. So this test would be run for two data sets values, but we would see the debug point would be applicable only when user value is equal to QTP. So let me start it on debug mode. Debug point was there, and if you see here, there's another test running, which is with Selenium, which got over. And let's go back to IntelliJ. Yeah, our debug point is still there, and let's see what is the value of user object here. Sorry. And you see user object has got first value as QTP because this is what we had specified in our conditional breakpoint here. And now, if you want to analyze something else, some other variable, this is something which we can do and figure out what is wrong with the test. This is just an example. I know nothing is wrong, so I would let it continue. And now it's going to use first name as QTP, and yeah, test run gets over. And you see both of the tests have succeeded. There was no problem. This was just a, let's say, mock test to be able to see debug with conditional values. What's next? Command Shift A. So IntelliJ also has a feature to which lets you search anything which you might know what is the shortcut for this, and any of the command and so on. I'm on Mac, so I can use something called Command Shift A. I guess on Windows it would be Control Shift A. So for example, I want to split my screen in in two different pans in horizontal or vertical modes. I would say Command Shift A. So you see the control is on action here, right here, and I can just start typing a split, and then IntelliJ says, okay, you can do split horizontal, split vertical, and so on. And this is what I can do here. And if I don't need this, I would just close it. This feature is very handy in terms of if you do not know where you can find something, then just hit Command Shift A or Control Shift A and start typing, and options like OPTIMI, optimize, import, and so on, or whatever you want to search. It's very, very easy. I did not mention another use case here, but this is also something very handy with IntelliJ. For example, if you run your test, and then there's a test report, and you want to verify test results or if something has gone wrong. So there's a big stack trace on the test report, and this stack trace can be imported in IntelliJ. For example, I would try to make this test fail somehow and see what goes on. So let me make this test fail. Let's say here, let's just make it, let's just make it false. I will comment this line too, and is equal to false. And let's run this test once again. No debug mode this time because we are just experimenting with making the test fail. Okay, the test would be retried because we have the retrial set, and we have multiple values now, so it's going to be retried multiple times. There are total 2 data sets, and it will be tried, if I'm not mistaken, 6 times. But once this is over, then we would hopefully have a test report which would have a stack trace of error, and then we would see how we can import this stack trace. Okay, so it says 8 ignored, 0 passed. Okay, I don't see any report here. I don't know what went wrong. Let me try to run another test and see how we can make this work. Okay, let's bring it to how it was, and let us write another method which should fail. So what we would do here is let us change some element here. Yep, let us change this element here. If we change this element to some invalid value, then we know that Selenium will not find the element, and then it would fail. So let's change it to some 1 2 3, and let's run it again. And this time I would also reduce the data sets here. So let's use just one data set, so it's fast. As in, the test would be retried still, but it would be retried only for one data set. So it would be faster than before. Yeah, it's trying to search the element now. It doesn't find it, so it just gives up after some time. The second attempt again is trying to find the element, again gives up, trying to find element, and would give up again. Yep, hopefully this is the last time. Selenium is trying to search element. and it's not there. Okay, it again says 4 ignored. It did not mark them as failed. It's quite strange. Anyways, let's see if we have test report now. So I could see the stack trace hopefully. Mm-hmm. Open in browser. Let's open this with Firefox. Mm, no, it did not generate the test report here. Or I'm looking at something wrong. Mm. Okay, this is quite weird, but the feature which I was trying to show you is I would have a look at this later why this test is marked as failed, not marked as failed and just ignored. But what I was trying to, you know, highlight is the capability of IntelliJ to just import the stack trace. So for that, what you have to do is copy the stack trace error message from the test report and do something like, again, Command Shift A, and I would say analyze stack trace. So you see here you have analyze stack trace, and as soon as you do this, if you have copied this, it would already be on your clipboard, and IntelliJ would take it here. And if you just hit OK, then it would be here, and using the stack trace you can navigate through different elements. Another very handy feature which I use often whenever my tests fail, then I would import the stack trace and analyze the errors here. Anything else for this session? No, this is all what I wanted to explain. I hope you enjoy watching this video, and hopefully you will learn something new, and if so, then please hit the like button. Thank you. Stay healthy. Bye bye.